the main task of sieve tubes is to transport food as sucrose throughout the plant body. And when it comes to companion cells, they are elongated cells with sieve tube associated with sieve tubes. And I forgot to tell you the cross wall is called the sieve plate. The nucleus of the companion cell controls the sieve tube elements, and sieve tube elements, companion cells, and phloem parenchyma are the living cells. Phloem fibers are dead cells. So when it comes to phloem, the function of the phloem tissue, so it's the transportation of food which are being synthesized in the leaves as a product as a product of photosynthesis, transported throughout the plant body uh, yes the food that are being synthesized in the leaves of the plant are being transported throughout the plant body by the phloem tissue. So this process we call, it's not transportation, it's translocation, because the location is going to change, because the food is synthesized in the leaves and it is being transported to another place, either to a fruit, roots, trunk, anywhere, right? So then we'll come to animal tissues. So like plant tissues, animal tissues also made up of different types of cells, and there are about 210 different types of cells that I mean not the total number of cells, the types of cells. There are 210 different types of cells in our body. So the cells with a common origin to perform a particular function are grouped according to their nature and according to their physical appearances and their tasks. So there are four groups, right? The first one is epithelial tissues, connective tissues, muscle tissues, and nervous tissues. So how this classification has been done? The groups uh, not groups, cells with a common origin to perform a particular function in the body is categorized according to their physical appearance, task, and their nature. Okay, so under that we talk about epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscle tissue, and nervous tissue. Right? So first we'll talk about epithelial tissue. This is the tissue that lines up the free surfaces, internal and external free surfaces of the vertebrate body. What is a vertebrate? Vertebrates are animals with a spine, right? So some of them are composed of single layer of cells and others are with several layers. So what are these free surfaces? Like a hand, right? Not joints, just the hand like this. These areas, right? Legs, but not the muscle, not the muscle, just under the skin, right? Uh, so this is the tissue that lines up the free surfaces. Even in our internal body, we can find these epithelial tissues, uh, and external to the vertebrate body. And there can be single layered tissues and multi-layered tissues as well. So the features of these epithelial tissues are like this. So you can see clear nucleus, base, and there can be several layers also, single or multiple layers. So this is called the basement membrane. Basement membrane. That's the base, right? In Sinhala we call Padastha layer. And this is nucleus, right? So these cells are tightly packed. Tightly packed. So what are the features? The cells are placed on a basement membrane. Placed on a basement membrane, and the cells are tightly packed. Tightly packed. And there is a nerve supply, but there is no blood supply. Okay, so there's a nerve supply present within the tissue, but there is no blood supply. So what are the three features? The cells are placed on a basement membrane and the cells are tightly packed. And the other one is there is a nerve supply present within the tissue, but there is no blood supply. So, as I told you earlier, these epithelial tissues can also be classified according to their shape and the shape of the cell and the number of cell layers. So, I told you it can be single layer or multi-layer, and the shape of the cell also sometimes differ from one tissue to another. So they have given some examples: wall of blood capillaries, thyroid gland, lining of nasal cavity, wall of urinary bladder, skin epidermis. As I told you, there you can find these epithelial cells in the skin. Uh, so they can be classified according to, they can be further classified according to the number of cells, cell layers, and the shape of the cells, right? So the walls of the blood capillaries, thyroid gland, lining of nasal cavity, wall of urinary bladder. You know all these places, I hope, right? So thyroid gland is somewhere here, right? So nasal cavity, you know, wall of blood capillaries, urinary bladder, right? Skin. So we'll move on to the functions of the epithelial tissue. So first one is in the definition also I mentioned lining up of free surfaces and protection. Lining up of free surfaces and protection protects the internal organs from pressure, friction and microbes. You have the skin, epidermis, right? So it's an epithelial cell and you are being protected by the pressure, friction and microbes. Your internal organs are protected by this um, tissue and also lining up of the free surfaces. Absorptive function is another thing. So the epithelium, especially this happens within the digestive system. So the epithelium of the digestive tract absorbs digestive end products, all these sugars, what are maltose, glucose, and these lipids, amino acids, all are absorbed by these epithelial cells in the epithelium of the digestive tract. And the other one is perception of stimuli. The tongue, nose, detect taste and smell, right? So perception of stimuli. Secretory function, secretion of mucus by the lining epithelium of respiratory tract. So you know that this secretion of mucus uh, when something some microbes when some microbes attack our respiratory system, the secretion of mucus happens, and when something goes some uh, unwanted thing or something goes to our respiratory tract, the mucus secretes. And the filtering function is epithelium of Bowman's capsule in nephrons. I'll actually this will come in the lesson number. I can't remember the lesson number, but it comes under human body. When we are learning about human body, at that place I will you will understand what is this Brown's capsule in nephrons. Okay, so not Brown's, Bowman's capsule in nephrons. Okay, so it filters actually blood. Blood is filtered and the urine is passed. The filtrate, the when it's like a sieve, right? It's like a sieve. It's a tube. So Bowman's capsule. So the blood is filtered at high pressure, and what happens is all the unwanted uh, things, unwanted compounds will be filtered and it will be excreted as urine, right? So it's the filtering function. So Bowman's capsule is made out of these epithelial cells.